What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. So today we're going to be working on my off-road mini bike. If you didn't watch the little mini series I did on building this thing, I suggest you go back and watch it because this thing came together pretty dang quick and looks good. And it might give you a couple good ideas on kind of building your own mini bike. But ever since I kind of built this thing, I haven't really done much to it. Kind of rode it around a few times. I added a little tachometer on there. And I also added another kill switch button right here by the throttle, so whenever you kind of let off, you can hit the button. It's kind of like redneck, kind of two-step or launch control, and it kind of will shoot flames and pop a little bit. So it's kind of cool, but it gets the job done. But today, I really wanted to add some LED bars because there's been a few times I wanted to take this thing out, but it's getting sunset or it's already dark out, and this thing's got no lights on it, and it's not really too safe to be riding with it. So I already pretty much filmed a whole video on doing this, but the way I kind of did it, I kind of rushed it. Didn't really like the way I kind of built the battery box for it because, as you can tell, this thing doesn't have a battery on it, and to really only put a battery on it would be super easy, kind of just mount it up anywhere, but I wanted it to be kind of as hidden as possible and kind of be waterproof and kind of out of the elements, because I do want to take this thing in some water and mud and stuff, so I don't want it to get like covered and all that. So I wanted to build a box for it. I built this box up, kind of got it pretty much finished up, but I didn't really like how I had it because the battery kind of took up almost half the whole box, and I couldn't really use it for any like storage or tools or any of that. So I ended up buying another box, and so I can actually redo it, take a little bit more time with it, and I can actually go a little bit more in depth with it with you guys. But as you can tell, I'm just using a little drill battery. I have just a Harbor Freight tool, so I'm just using a Harbor Freight battery with the little adapter I 3D printed, and then it just goes to two little spade connectors that just power and ground there. And then I'm also running a relay with my setup just because I think it's a little bit more safer, save it from popping or having any issues. It's got a fuse integrated in as well. So the way I'm wiring this thing up, it's gonna be just the power, and then the signal power from the relay is getting wired together. The ground will be on its own ground, just going straight to the engine. The ground for the relay is actually going to be going to the kill switch on the left side here. Since I already have this one hooked up, integrated with that one, I kind of just disconnected this one so I can wire this one up to be just the ground for the relay kit for the lights. So once that grounds out, it should flick on the relay and turn the lights on. So that should be pretty simple. And then the blue wire here is just like the main power that goes straight to the LED lights, and then the LED light ground can just go right to the chassis as well. So should be a pretty little simple setup, and since kind of already built this before, got the whole wiring harness pretty much done up, so should be pretty simple. I'm just going to take a little bit more time building the box up, make it a little bit more nicer, and kind of show you guys how I'm going to do that. So the first thing I'm going to do is actually shorten this box down because this thing does not really fit behind here too well. It's kind of hard to tell, but trying to open up this lid with the exhaust and the head right there doesn't really fit too well, so I do want to shorten it up. I got a line right here marked at 1.5 inches, so I'm going to chop the box in half, and then I should be able just to take this bottom section and slip it right down into the center here, since it kind of tapers up as it goes up. So this should just slip right down in, and then I can just kind of glue the whole edge all the way around, maybe a couple rivets just to make sure it's secure, and then that'll be a little solid box that's shortened up a little bit that'll fit right in there. And then I'll show you guys how I mount it. So let me get the box all chopped up. I can get that all built out, and then I'll show you how I mount it on the bike, and then mounting up that whole battery and wiring setup on the bike and all that. So I got the box all chopped out, got the top piece here so you can see right through it, and I got the bottom piece here, just hit it with the angle grinder and then sanded down the edges. So that's nice and smooth. And for anyone wondering what box I'm using, these are actually like the Harbor Freight ammo boxes. I think they're like $5 to $10. They're super cheap, so anyone can pretty much go pick one up and do this themselves if they wanted to. And this is just kind of the way I'm doing it, just because I need to shorten it up a little bit. But now that this is chopped out, this actually fits perfectly right in the bottom of the box there. And if you just push it down nice and solid, it sits in there perfectly. So now it's nice and flat. Shortened up the box a good 1.5 inches now, so that should be perfect. And I think I'm just gonna take some plastic bonder and put it along this edge in here and drop the bottom back in, so then it should seal it up perfectly. Maybe a couple rivets just to keep it 100% together. And then once the box is all back together, I can actually start getting the wiring and the little battery adapter all mounted up. Thinking about mounting it something like that so it can stand straight up and then kind of give me all this room kind of back here, and then any room on the side here if I want to put any long wrenches or anything in there. So once I get the box back together, I'm going to start mounting up this little battery adapter and the relay just to get that all figured out, and then I can actually start figuring out mounting it up on the bike, and I can show you guys all that. So as you can tell by my mess, been working away. Pretty much got the battery box all finished up. Just glued in the bottom with some plastic bonder. Where's it? Right here. Got that. Just mixed that together. I just wiped it on the edge, dropped the bottom in, and it's actually staying pretty solid. So I don't think it needs any rivets or screws kind of going around to keep the two pieces together, but we'll see how it goes. I ended up just mounting up the battery adapter and the battery in there, and then a little relay holder. Just got 2 screws that go on the bottom there, and that little rivet that holds the little holder for the relay. Then drilled a hole with a little grommet for my wires to go through, so everything's looking good there. The only thing about mounting it vertically is it does stick up a little bit, so I did have to start chopping out the top a good bit. Didn't really like to, but it is what it is. But now she closes up fine. I did have to remove the handle and a lot of this section kind of over here, and now I got a big old hole, but she does close nice and tight, so she's all good there. And then since I got this hole there, I ended up whipping up this little bracket, so this will go right in there, and then I can kind of glue that down. Once this all gets painted, should look pretty good. So now that the box is all finished up, I can actually get it mounted up on the bike. Luckily, I already have 4 holes drilled in my skid plate from me mounting up that box yesterday, so probably just gonna mark those same holes on the bottom of this box, and then toss some rib nuts in it, so then I can thread some bolts in from the bottom, and it should stay on pretty solid to the skid plate, and then I can get the wires ran to the front. So it should be pretty easy, but I think I'm actually gonna paint this thing up first, get the rib nuts in, and then paint it up so I can actually mount it for the final time, get all the wires ran, and then she should be good to go. So I'm gonna probably catch you guys tomorrow when I get that thing all finished up and get her mounted on the bike. What's up, guys? So it's the next day now. Been working away on the battery box and pretty much almost got it finished up. Got it sanded up and then painted it up. Got a nice flat black going on there, so I'm just letting that thing dry up real quick. And in the meantime, I can actually start working on the bike a little bit. I want to get the LED bars all mounted up, so I'm just using 2 little 6" by 1" LED bars, and I want to mount them to the front of the forks here, kind of like somewhere around this section. And perfectly enough, on my forks, I ended up having these 2 little threaded holes that had some bolts for, so I can just thread right in there and kind of just build a plate that goes all the way down and kind of mount the LED bars with their brackets. So since I got a 3D printer, I ended up just 3D printing a little bracket right here. So this bolts into the both bowl holes, and then I actually just measured out where I wanted the LED bars and kind of just made the holes there, and then mounted it up with its little metal bracket so I can still kind of pivot them up and down, kind of set them where I need to, and then wired them both together with 2 little spade connectors. So it should be super easy to wire up and then be able to take off if I ever need to. So I'm gonna get those mounted up real quick. I'm gonna do a quick one of these. And just like that, got the LED bars all mounted up on the bike. They are looking pretty dang good, and they are nice and solid on there, so I shouldn't have to worry about them really going anywhere. The only thing I really wish I could do is kind of bring them in a little bit, because they do kind of stick out a little bit from the forks. So maybe I might redesign that bracket in the future and kind of see what I can do to it. But for right now, this should work and get the job done. So pretty much once that battery box is all dried up, get it mounted up on the bike, get all the wiring ran, and test this thing out. But if you guys do actually see this in the background, I'm working on this kind of in the middle of this, waiting for some parts. But if you guys do enjoy some Miata content, I'd appreciate it if you go check out my Miata, my MB Miata build. I'm currently putting in a high compression 1.8 into it, and I'm kind of in the process with the whole motor out right now. I'm kind of waiting for parts, but by the time this video goes up, I should have 2 videos up on this thing, and then pretty soon we should be dropping in the motor and actually taking it for its first rip. So if you guys enjoy some Miata content, I'd appreciate it if you go check it out. But in the meantime, we're going to be working on this thing because still waiting for some parts on that. So once that battery box dries up, I'm going to get all the wiring mounted up in the box, get it mounted on there, get it all ran nice and tight, and then we can test this baby out, maybe take it on some trails and see how it does into nighttime riding. What's going on, guys? So it's the next day now. The paint in the battery box is completely dry now, so I got it all put back together and got it put on the bike, and then started running all my wiring. So this is how she's looking. She's looking pretty dang good. And then since the paint came out pretty nice, I ended up throwing a couple stickers on there. And I do actually sell these stickers, so if you guys are interested in them, I do sell a couple designs. at DillPicklesperformance.com. I sell this one. I also have a couple in the cars I could show you. I might also throw up the 49cc sticker just because I kind of made that just for my bike, but they're super easy to make and I could just throw them up for super cheap. So if you guys are interested, let me know. But the battery box is looking pretty good. Got everything all mounted back up inside. Got the battery, got the relay kind of mounted up in there. It's gonna be hard to see, but still enough room to kind of throw a couple tools in there, maybe a little tank for some extra spare gas or anything. But that's kind of just the idea of this thing, kind of as a toolbox. But got the wiring ran out, ran it up the frame, kind of zip tied it all the way up, and then got my ground points going right to the engine there, and then kind of ran it all the way up here, and then I kind of just got it teed in. Kind of hard to see, but I got it spliced in there, right to the ground to the switch here. And then got my 2 wires that go to the LEDs there. I did take the LED bars off because I was kind of thinking about it. Didn't really like the way this bracket looked, and I really wanted to sink them back, so came up with this design, and it came out pretty dang sick. You know, I had to put my little logo in there, of course, but now this will actually sit the LED bars back a little bit, and then the slot in the middle allows the wires just to slip right through so they're not all coiled up and all that. So I'm gonna get that mounted up on this bracket here, get it mounted up on the bike, and we can finally test these lights out. So I got the new bracket and LEDs all mounted back up on the bike, and they're looking super good. Tucked them into the forks as tight as possible, literally as tight as possible. You can kind of see it there. If those wires moved any little bit, they would be rubbing the stem here, so I got them zip tied as tight as I could against the bracket there, and then get them all plugged in. So the moment of truth, I can finally flip them on, and they work perfectly. They are super bright. So I actually want to turn off a couple of these lights in here real quick and see how bright they are, because it's currently kind of sunny out, so will be a few hours before I can even test this thing out at night. So let's set off a couple of these lights real quick and test them out. The lights show off in the garage. I'm just finally see how bright these things are. Woo-wee! That's gonna be great riding at night. So this thing is super bright. Can't wait to test this thing out at night. So I think I'm gonna wait a few hours, and then we can finally test this thing out on some nice trails at night, see how she does. So as you can tell, it is finally dark outside, and we can finally test the lights on this thing. I really did want to take it on some trails, but it's currently like 8:30 right now, so don't really want to piss the neighbors off too much ripping this thing around. So I'm probably just gonna put it around the neighborhood and maybe rip it around my house real quick and show you how these lights are looking. So I'm gonna strap you up in my chest cam, and let's go for a ride. Not sure how well you guys can see, but let's see if this thing will start up first try. Oh, that's my girl. Let's go. Let's see how these lights are looking. Holy shit! This is gonna be sweet. So one thing I do notice is they do aim a little high. But I did notice whenever I built this bracket, I kind of ran out of adjustment, kind of angling that bottom one all the way down. So if I just redesign it a little bit, or even cut out one of my supports, I can kind of just drop it down a little bit more, and then I can drop the top one as well. So it'll be alright. It'll be good for this first little ride. So I'll let this baby warm up for a little bit, and go take her for a rip. Well, let's see if she likes this cold weather. Not really that cold, but for Florida, 50 degrees, it is freezing. Especially for driving 20 on a mini bike. Let's see how this that is perfect. Lights up the whole street. Holy fuck, these things are bright. God. my woods out there. So I hope you guys enjoyed this couple little clips of me kind of just cruising around the neighborhood real quick and ripping around my house. And so far, these lights are doing super good. They are super bright. The only thing is I do need to aim that bottom one down just a little bit because it does seem to be aiming up at the trees and like kind of the signs and stuff. I don't really care too bad because if you're in like heavy trees or like on a deep trail, it would be nice to kind of see up into the trees a little bit. But cars driving by don't really like it because it's aiming right at them. But other than that, I did notice that the lights would kind of flicker a little bit here and there. I really just think it's the battery inside the little adapter because it does have a little bit of play kind of moving around. So I might just put a little bit of like a rubber block underneath the battery just to kind of keep it flat in there and keep it in the adapter, and everything should be good. Other than that, I'm super stoked on how this thing came out. Everyone that's seen this thing so far gave me compliments on how the lights look, and the battery box just looks sweet on the back with my couple little stickers on there. So super stoked on that. So I think this is actually going to be coming out on Monday. I do want to start doing 2 videos a week, Monday and Friday. The Friday videos would kind of be a little bit more longer videos that kind of take time, like working on the Miatas or actually building a full project. But the Monday videos would be kind of quick little videos I can kind of get out there for you guys, kind of get you more content. I already know the next video I think I'm going to be doing some radiator ducting on the NA Miata because I do want to take this thing drifting soon. So get that all knocked out so I can actually kind of drive it far because it does like to overheat randomly. But as you can tell, this Friday actually, it's going to be a pretty good video because you see at the beginning of this video, this thing had no engine. So got the engine in, it's finally running. So you guys will see that coming up on this Friday, and a little sneak peek for you guys. So if you guys enjoyed today's video, hope you like, comment, subscribe, and peace out.